Hey everybody, we are back. This is episode 4, which is part 2 of the
Did I get married for the wrong reasons?
Hey.
Listen, let's pick up right where we left off.
All right.
Because we talked about wrong reasons to get married, because of my age, because of compromise. And I want us to pick right back up because I think we left people with a cliffhanger. And you were talking about, which was so good, just what God would not allow because
Don't
these
you
sisters
settle.
and these brothers as well are out
Absolutely.
here waiting
Yes.
on God, trusting
Yes.
God, fasting and
Yes.
praying, believing God,
Yes.
saving their money, focusing, going to singles retreats. I mean, just waiting on God, building themselves up,
Yes.
and they're waiting.
Yes.
And you're saying what?
Don't settle and connect with somebody who is going to tear down everything that you have been building. You mentioned this before in one of the sermons and even during one of the marriage gatherings about when I connected with how some women, when they connect with certain people, they begin to deteriorate. So you have been in the trenches, men and women, sister friends and brother friends. You've been in the trenches, getting at work. You've been allowing God to build you, to teach you how to walk with him. You've been learning to hear his voice. You've been denying your flesh. You have been growing in him. You've been growing mentally, physically, financially. You've been doing the thing. Then you connect with somebody who begins to slowly tear down everything that God has been doing in you. You were working on your finances. You get with them, and because their credit is shot, you're carrying the whole relationship. Ooh. Male and female, you're carrying the whole relationship. Now you purchasing the car. Now, if he don't feel like working, or if he don't feel like paying, now you're carrying that. Or if she wants to go out and overspend and buy things for the purpose of looking a certain way, when you're like, look, baby, we got it. We're on another mission. But for her, it is about keeping up with, it used to be the Joneses. Now it's keeping up with the Lewises. Listen, they're tearing down what you have established, even in terms of your walk with the Lord, even spiritually, even that. You got with somebody who said you saw that the value of their relationship with the Lord was not as high as yours. Matter of fact, it wasn't even a relationship. They just attended church. There was no relationship. So when you get up at 5 o'clock, that's a problem. Why you got the light on? It's too loud. Oh, why you reading? Why you going to Bible study? Why we spending our money on this? Why do you need another Bible? You want to go to another retreat? You want to go to, why you spending all this time doing that? Why you at the church house? Why you doing this? Because the value is not there. So in order to keep peace in your home and in your environment, you have to begin to back away from the things of God. You have to pull back from your real saved friends. You have to pull back from serving in your local church. You have to pull back from being around people and things of God, because the individual that you got with, that you compromise with, is saying, they don't like that.
You don't value the same
because
things.
We don't value the same things. They don't value their walk. Because when an individual values what they value, what you value, they're going to encourage you in that. If you get two individuals that don't value the Lord, they're going to encourage each other to not walk with the Lord. But you have two individuals who do honor God and who love God. They're going to encourage each other. Hey, baby, anything I can be praying with you on. Hey, baby, what do you think about reading this book? Hey, baby, what you think about going through this study together? Hey, baby, so I was thinking, if you serving on a green team, how about I serve on a green team and we get to serve on the same Sundays, and then we can serve one Sunday, then we can worship together next Sunday. You're trying to figure out how to carry out what you value together. That's why it's important, sister friends, brother friends, that you don't compromise on what it is that you're valuing. I think we don't talk enough about the work that goes into growing yourself while you're single. I put in work as a single person. Listen, when I was single and I'm growing, and anything you are putting an investment in, you really do work to protect. So, sister friend, don't be out here fasting and turning your plate over for 3 and 4 days and denying yourself and going on 30-day fast. You seeking God, and you're telling your friends no, and you're telling your that sell at Dillard's no, and you're telling all of these things no.
And you end up compromising.
And you do it and saying yes to someone who is not deserving of that.
Of your yes.
They're not deserving of it. So be very, very mindful of that. You are working. And let me encourage you seriously. If you have said yes to this point, turn around right now and say no. Say no.
Not if
Pivot.
you're married. Not if you're married.
Not if you're married. I'm talking to in the event
That's
that this
right.
crosses or goes on the feed of someone who is single and they just happen to be listening to the podcast, or you see this on your FYP page, or you just see it on your timeline. Just know this: if you have been putting in that work and you have found yourself in a place of compromise, and you see little areas where you're compromising because you got discouraged, or you're feeling like it hasn't been worth it because you're not seeing the fruit that you want to see, let me encourage you to stop, especially in terms of a relationship. Girl, don't you compromise. Don't you dare compromise. Stop right now. Go ahead and tell him, because you know that's not who you're supposed to be with. Go ahead and tell him, I don't think that this is going to work. This is not working for the new me, and this is certainly not going to work for the future me. This is not going to work. So go ahead and pivot. Cry the 3 tears that you're going to cry now, because if you continue in this, you'll be crying 20 tears. So go ahead and wipe your 3 now. Deal with your hurt feelings and the small heartache now on this side, and pick yourself back up and continue to build yourself. Continue building and building. And even if you are in a place of compromise, don't dog yourself out. Don't allow condemnation to set in. You have to pivot. You pivot. You repent. You get it back right. And then you look at it and you say, now, God, how did because I've been growing in you. I've been working in you. I've been striving. What is it in me? Is there anything else left in me that's pulling to me these type of individuals, or something else in me that I need to clean up and clean out of me? And if so, show me what that is so I can continue to work on it. Because a lot of times that's what's happening. Sometimes we have been working, we've been working, and we are attracting different to us. I'm not attracting the old people to me, but I'm attracting something, and it's new to me. I'm attracting a new type of man to me, but there's still something, God, now this ain't it either. So God, keep purging. God, keep working in me, so that when you do we'll use Boaz. So when you bring Boaz my way, I'll be able to recognize who Boaz is. And listen, in any relationship, friendship, marriage, potential courtship, if I am connected with someone, they are going to make me better. If God is bringing them, they are going to make me better. They are not going to make me worse. And even if it's not financially where you're compromising emotionally. There are so many individuals who are well financially, but emotionally, you are a trash bag. You connect with people and you carry so much trash with you that when I get connected with you, I began to take your trash and your mess on, and I start looking and smelling just like you. Because you're not emotionally well. You got me wondering who I am. You got me thinking I need to be sitting on somebody's couch because I done connected with you. But it's because, again, I lowered that standard even emotionally. So there used to be a time when we could talk about money if they weren't where you wanted them to be financially. Well, now we have to talk about, are they where they need to be mentally? Are they where they need to be emotionally? Because that is just as huge as not having any money. That is just as huge as him not having any work ethic or him not being able to provide. Because if I can't talk to you just about my basic emotional needs, if I can't get my basic emotional needs met, we got a problem. We have a real problem. And we'll go into, and I think maybe that's even, maybe in a future podcast, we'll just talk about mental health.
Yes.
We'll talk about mental health and the importance of that in marriage. It is very, very important that you keep your mind on point.
Yes.
And I'm almost certain that it's somewhere strategically and even statistically where there has to be a merging of 20, 30 years ago. I don't know what drug was prevalent then, but I believe that we are now bearing the fruit of a lot of decisions that was made 25, 30, and 40 years ago. Because the imbalance of our mental health, it's sad. It's sad, and we're hurting.
So we talked about some of the reasons that people get married from some of the wrong reasons. And one was because they're pregnant. Another one to get out of the house. Another one, people around them are doing it. People are pressuring you to do it. Getting older, think that you can fix the relationship by marrying and not understanding that it only amplifies that. And you don't think that you can do any better. This is another one that's really good. People get married because they're in love with the idea of being in love.
I'm about to walk out.
They're in love with the idea of being in love. And they're not really in love. They're just in love with the idea of it.
I want to be able to you see me and Bae, we're recording a podcast because we're in love, and we're talking about the 10 different ways to keep your fire burning. And when we leave from here, I'm going to go to the restaurant and we're going to take a picture of our food. And then we're going to take a picture of our hands as we walk and hold hands. Then when we get home, we're going to pick up our little kids. And then I'm going to take a picture and show you what they look like. And then when we get home, I'm going to take a picture of us putting them to bed. And then as we get the kids to bed, then I'm going to set up the camera and then I'm going to show you us walking into the bedroom, and I'm gonna do this because everything that we do now is centered around the show, and we are the cast. Everything. You cannot. If I mentioned this to you yesterday, we have got to start asking ourselves why. When you want to do things, the quickest way for me oftentimes to check my motive on something is when I ask myself why.
Why? That's right.
Why do you want to do that? Why do you want it? Why do you want to, I want to go here. Why you want to go? Oh, you know what? I'm going to start me a TV series. Why you want to do it? Oh, I'm going to do this. And we give blanket responses like, oh, I want to do it because I want to do it for the kingdom of God. I want to do it so people will be able to look at my life and they'll be able to see what God is doing. And I do believe that there is some validity to some of that. But you still need to be asking yourself why. Why do you want to get married? If there was no social media, if nobody would ever see your spouse, would you still want to do it? And I believe for some people, the answer would be no. I don't want it that bad. I don't really want it. I just want to look like I want it. I just want what it gives me. And so that's why you ask yourself, why? Why do you want to get married? Well, because we have learned just as people to give right answers. But what is the answer that you really, really know in your knower when you're driving in the car and that thought hits you like, dang it. Dang it, man. I want to get married because I just want the look of being married.
That's right.
I just like the way they look. I like going to the Christmas party. I know the family Christmas party coming up. And this time I want to be able to walk in because we got on matching sweaters. And this time I want us to be able to, this is from me and Terrell. Last year, it's just been from me. The last 12 years, it's just been a gift from me. This year's going to be me and Terrell. We got that. Mama, we got that gift for you. Now it's because we want what we see with other people. That's it. We desire what we see. And what we're seeing is the trips, the out to eat, the wedding, the having the babies, buying a new home, getting the promotions, going to the grocery store together. We see all of that. But honey, that is probably one day in 30 days of marriage that you have Instagrammable moments. One day out of 30. And what I'm afraid of is that we are building a culture of, we know in our know, honestly, we have one Instagrammable day out of 30 a month. We have one of those. Honestly, we have one. We are now building a world around us where all 30 of our days are Instagrammable. So your life is not real. It is all for the viewing. There are certain parts of my life that I do not want people to see. Not because it's ugly. It's just because it's mine.
Mm-hmm.
And there is some beauty in keeping some things to yourself. Because I get to, and I'm not saying in any shape, form, or fashion that I won't be, that I'm not authentic, that I'm not open, that I'm not willing to share certain things. I'm not saying any of that. But I am saying that there are some things that, hey, our marriage is between me and you. Conversations are between me and you. Growing, all of that is between me and you. But that comes after we have had a real understanding of why we got married in the first place. Yes. And that is to glorify God. We glorified God through the way we lived as individuals. Now we are collectively coming together to glorify him, to make his name great, known amongst the earth, here on this earth, and to show what kingdom looks like here as a union. We did it individually, and now we're doing it as a union. And we are raising children who we hope and pray will in turn do the same thing. And they will do it, and they will continue that on.
You're taking me too fast.
I'm sorry.
No, because I think you said this. We did a marriage huddle,
Mm-hmm.
and you
getting hot now.
It's getting hot in here. We did a marriage huddle, and you said this because this is what I want you to speak to, because this is what so many brothers feel. I want you to hear me. Mm-hmm. Us brothers feel this sometime to where prior to us being married, mm-hmm. our now wife, prior to us being married, I mean, she was on point. She was working. Mm-hmm. She was trying to make sure she was on point for me. She had her makeup. She had her lashes. When there was something that needed to be corrected, she corrected it. When it was something that I didn't like, mm-hmm. she made sure that she fixed it. There's more clapback. Mm-hmm. There's and don't let a child come into the picture, mm-hmm. because it seems that now that we've gotten married, and now that we have a child, you got what you wanted out the deal. Well, so now you can be, who you really are. And you can just kind of like, yeah, it is what it is. Thank you for my child. Thank you for my children. And I'm not going to really try to change. I'm not going to put forth the effort. And this what's up. This is who I am. Talk to us about that. You said something I want you to say, when we was in the marriage huddle.
About, so if I married for the last reason that you just stated, mm-hmm. if I did it for the imagery, if I did it for the perception, then I didn't necessarily want to be married. I just wanted the perception. I wanted.
You was in love with the idea of being married.
Idea of being married. Okay. And if that is my mentality, then I see you, my husband, and I see these children as accessories. I see you as add-ons to my life to make me look better. I put this bracelet on, for one, because I love this bangle, but I put it on to make what I had on better. I put these particular earrings on because I felt like it went with the Tabitha Brown dress today. So I do all of this, why? To make me look better, to make what I got going, to enhance it. So I see marriage the same way. It's an enhancer. It's not something that's necessarily a part of me. I take these off and on at will. I go and I put on a different pair that's going to make me look better today. Tomorrow I'm going to have on a different pair. Tomorrow I may have on a different bracelet, because accessories are only made to make me look better. And if I came into the marriage only wanting to look better, that is why I'm not going to put forth the effort. I'm not putting in time. I'm not putting in real effort into making sure that the marriage is working. It's not about that. Yeah, babe, let's not focus on communicating and all of that. I just need you. Can you make sure you wear this? Make sure we're living here. Make sure we driving this. Make sure this is on point. Babe, don't look like that. Babe, sit up. Babe, you getting your hair cut. Babe, don't be so this. Babe, don't be so that. You doing too much because you messing up my picture. I got an image.
Jesus.
I got a picture of the way of how I want things to be seen and how I want things to go. And you're messing that up when you try to make us go to marriage retreats and work on us and communicate. I don't want all that. Marriage is not intended for that. Marriage was just supposed to be for show. It was not supposed to be for real. It was not supposed to be for real. And these little kids, listen, when they come here and they're not perfect and they got other issues and now I got to go to the school, you messing with my image. If you are not perfect in every sense of the way, you are messing up my image. So
that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. And I'm telling you, brothers, we struggle with that.
Because that's what you feel. I don't really want to work on the marriage stuff, or I'll give it a little bit. But brother, some of the stuff, and here's the thing, in order to really have a strong marriage, there's going to be some death. And there is no death in my image, in my perfect idea. There is no death here. Yeah. It's full of life. It's full of life. But true marriage is death. It is dying to self. And I don't like the way that ain't what I signed up for. And I don't like the way that makes me feel, because that's taking something away from me. And if we ever decide to take this a step further in the conversation, we can really talk about a lot where that comes from and what that is rooted in. And that is rooted in you, your own self, feel the need to live out a perfect, reflected life. And where is that coming from? Okay. Well, some way, somehow, or maybe someone has put that on you, that in order to receive or to get what you needed, you had to be perfect.
What do you mean?
It means that somewhere along the journey of your life, in order for you to get the love that you needed, the attention that you needed, or any of your basic needs met, that there could be no flaws, that you had to almost be flawless in order to get what you need. So therefore, or I don't need anything, or everything I need is self-contained. I got it. It's the I got it. And it could come from either one of those places. And so you carry that out through your life. It's everything about you has to be perfect. Everything about you has to be perfectly said, perfectly done. And that carries over into this. So no, I'm not going to think about, and many of us haven't been challenged in that either, especially as girls, as women. You know, we've talked about this before. We grew up playing Barbie.
That's right.
We grew up playing with Barbie dolls.
And we
for
didn't.
Us, absolutely. Y'all were G.I. Joe. You were all by yourself.
That's handling the business. That's right.
It. We had dream houses with Barbie and Ken and Skipper, the little sister that came along, and it was the Barbie dream house. It was about having the big house with the blonde hair, with the convertible, with the pool. And if you had all of those things, then life was complete for us. But the reality is no, life does not. We are now seeing, and I think we know that now that that's not the case. But some of those same ideas are still carrying over with us, that we are not complete unless I'm able to look like this, post like this, say that this is a part of my life. But that's not true. That's a lie straight from the pit of hell. You are complete, and you can be complete without a man, without children. You can absolutely be that. And if God allows that to be a part, and that's if. We don't even talk about what if singleness is your life? What if that is what God desires for your life? And we're kicking against it. And we're kicking against maybe what he has called you into, a life of singleness. I know now they're tuning me out. I know.
They didn't cut the,
I know.
I
don't want to hear that girl. No, man. He ain't called me to that.
That's right. We
he
did
ain't
it at
called
church.
me.
We talked about some stuff at church, and folks stopped clapping. Whenever you talk about something like that, maybe God didn't.
I know.
Yeah, the claps get small and small. They was excited at first.
I know.
You know.
I know, but that's a part of my life. Is not my own.
That's right.
I am here not for my own. Well, that's easy for you to say. You got a man. You got what I want. You've been with somebody for 20 years. You laying next to a man at night. I want to lay next to somebody. I want a man. I don't care if good or bad or indifferent. He ain't got to have no job, no teeth, no nothing. I just want a man. So I understand. But the reality is some of the things that we desire in life may not be something that God desires for us. Marriage, children, to live in certain parts of the world. Some people want to do things vocationally, and God has just not called you to that. But this is a part, this is the reality of our lives are not our own. This is the reality of that. And I know everything in culture says, no, honey, manifest it. Call it out the air. Speak it. Yeah. And some things in this life, there are things that in my life, had it been my choice, I would have made a different decision. Mm-hmm. If it was up to me, I would never experience heartache and pain. If it was up to me, I would never experience loss. I would never have anything in my life that would keep me up at night. But my life is not my own. My life is not my own. And that means even the things that God desires to bring into my life or take out of my life is not my own. And that is the reality of living on this side. You want kingdom life? That's a part of kingdom life. I know we have desires. I have them too. I know we've had things that we want to take place in our lives. So did I. Yeah. But that comes along with it.
So false idea of what marriage is. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people have a false idea of what marriage is. And listen to this, successful marriage can be one of the most fulfilling and happy relationships in your life if you're entering it for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. You got to enter into a marriage for the right reasons. And so many times people enter into a marriage for the wrong reason. Mm-hmm. This is what I've seen a lot of times. People will invite God to the wedding, mm-hmm. but they leave him out of the marriage.
Absolutely.
They invite him to the wedding. We want the pictures. We want to, by the power invested in me, I now pronounce you husband. Mm-hmm. But hey, listen, he was there. Mm-hmm. We got the counseling, mm-hmm. but what about inviting him into the marriage? Mm-hmm. And we don't do that. We'll do the premarital counseling to get the discount.
Absolutely.
But we don't invite him truly into the marriage. Mm-hmm. And so oftentimes, people don't ask this question, why? Mm-hmm. Why? I remember Madison, our daughter, asked. Well, I asked her a question. Mm-hmm. I said, why do you want to be married? Because she desired to be married one day. Mm-hmm. And she said, I don't know. I'm like, no, why? Because I wanted her to think about that. Mm-hmm. That's what we you and I was talking about that too. Like, that's the question to ask people, why? Mm-hmm. Think about the why. And so I asked her, why does she want to be married? I don't know. I mean, it's just, it seemed like it's fun. Mm-hmm. I like how you and mama, mm-hmm. I like what I see, mm-hmm. And it just seemed like it's fun. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I mean, just the traveling, y'all travel together. I want to, and I just challenge her to think about why you want to get married, because it's more than fun, mm-hmm. and it's more than traveling. Mm-hmm. How many times a year do we travel? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you just see us travel when you see us travel. Absolutely. But we have to live together and talk together and sleep together and negotiate together and plan together and have confrontation together. And parent, that's right, together. And do bills together and clean together. And so we have to do these things together. Mm-hmm. So this is what marriage is about. Mm-hmm. And so that ain't going to cut. This not going to get you through. Yep. Fun in traveling. Mm-hmm. if that's the extent, and that is from she could have been 15 at the time, but this from that mindset. But a lot of people, they have that same mindset at 27. Mm-hmm. To I just want to be married. It's our marriage look lit to people, mm-hmm. or certain marriages look lit, and mm-hmm. man, y'all got the podcast and y'all got the pictures and y'all got this right here, and not understanding that we have to work and we have to be very intentional, and we have the misunderstandings and we have disputes and we have to communicate with each other. Yes. And we have to practice what we preach.
Yes. That part.
There are times to where we have to really think about, mm-hmm. okay, what advice do we give people? Mm-hmm. And okay, now let me use this same advice that I give men. Mm-hmm. When your wife acting the way you don't want her to act, mm-hmm. What do you tell men mm-hmm. pertaining to that? Mm-hmm. When it seems like she won't listen, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. How do you handle your man when he's acting stubborn? Yep. What do you do? Yep. And she has to say, okay, what do I tell women? Yeah. We've even had that discussion with each other, mm-hmm. to where, listen, I told her before, like, hey, listen, the way you were acting, tell yourself what you tell the ladies. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about, we not handling this thing the way that we encourage people to handle it. Yep. And we have to really sit back and say, wait a minute, mm-hmm. okay. This is what, and it's hard mm-hmm. to handle it like that. Yes. It's hard to love you when you got an attitude. Yes. It's hard to be kind to you when you're not being kind. It's hard to be, and so it's that level of of transparency that we have to have with each other, and that level of dying to our flesh and really becoming one with each other. Because you don't just become one on the day of the wedding.
Oh my.
You consistently become one.
Yes.
You are becoming one with
Yes.
each other consistent. You
Yes.
became one,
Right.
but it's a consistent
merging.
That's right.
Yes.
Because
lives.
you become one, and then once you become one at the altar, you stop trying to become separate again. You know what I'm saying? When you want to do your own thing, you want to become separate again.
Yep.
When you want your
That's
way, you want to
good.
become separate
That's
again.
good.
And you have to fight to continue
That's good.
we're going to continue to be one.
That's
we
good.
make this decision together
Yep.
because we're one.
Very
We
good.
deal with this together because we're one.
Yeah.
So when that flesh start trying to become two again, the individual and the enemy say, you ain't got to listen to this. You can do your own thing. You ain't got to run this by her. You ain't got to make your own decision. You ain't have to run it by her. When you want to do something, you do. You ain't got to talk to nobody about what you the man. No, partner. We not two. We're one.
Yeah.
And so we begin to talk about that to where it's much more than the travel. People oftentimes want to get married, Now, me and we talked about of the man.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we're going to talk about, because this has been
But
heavy
I think
on
it's been heavy on the women, but it's both as well, because men feel that they biological clock is ticking. Men don't want to compromise, and so I think it's for both. One of the reasons that men want to get married, like and just in looking at men, it's men are at a place in their life to where when they want to settle down, they get married. Wow. They tired of playing. They want some stability. They really feel like I can really spend the rest of my life with somebody. I can spend the rest of my life with this woman. Hey, I done had folks. I done been out there. I done been clubbing. And I want to settle down. And oftentimes that's why men get married. One of the reasons. Now, prior to now, you got. So that's why you don't pressure a man into getting married, because when he ain't ready to get married, baby, he'll marry you. If you pressure him, but he gonna bring a whole lot of stuff that you don't want in that marriage because he's not ready. So it has to be when he's ready. Now, don't let him. If he's not ready, don't let him take you down a 4 or 5 year journey of him saying, I ain't ready yet, because maybe he's not the one for you because you are ready and he's wasting your time. But make sure you don't try and rush a process with a man. You all grew up with Ken and Barbie, and you're looking at like, oh wow, this is good, and this is the imagery that you want. We ain't care nothing about Ken or Barbie or the dog you mentioned. I don't even know the dog name.
It was her sister. Skipper was her sister.
Skipper. I ain't even know. I don't know about that.
I think that was name.
I just knew about. I heard about that, but it's Skipper. We don't know about that. Yeah. We G.I. Joe. We going to get it.
Jumping off the plane.
Yeah. That's what we thinking about. We thinking about handling our business. We thinking about solo dolo. We thinking about vision. We thinking about building. We thinking about. That's what we want to make sure we're on point. Before I married you, I wanted to make sure that I was financially secure or in a place to where I could be married. Before I married you, I wanted to make sure that was something about me prior to. So oftentimes men get to a place to where they say, I really want to settle down. And when they get to that place, they marry. Oftentimes that's why men want to get married. Now, but people get married for the wrong reason. This is a man and a woman. Sometimes this is another wrong reason. They get married because I want somebody to love me unconditionally. I want to be loved unconditionally, so I want to get married so somebody can love me. They look at what they can get from being married.
Yes.
So I want to get married because of what I can get. If I'm married, he's gonna love me unconditionally. If I'm married, then we're gonna have a family together. If I'm married, and so it's what I can get because I didn't get certain things or I got certain things, and I want to be loved. And people don't really think about what can I give in a marriage. I want you to hear that. So for me, this is how it was, and for you as well. It was. I didn't look at, what I can receive. Now, I needed to make sure that I received, something in marriage, and it was reciprocated. But my focus wasn't, I'm marrying somebody to receive. what she can give me, what she can bring to the table. I'm marrying somebody because I wanted to give and I wanted to love unconditionally. Not just to be loved unconditionally, but I was working on me so that I can be better with God. I was working on ministry. I wasn't, oh, we're married. No, God, what have you called me to do? God, where do I need to be with my money, God? Where do I need to be in ministry? And so once I felt that I was in a place to where, okay, now, wasn't all the way there, but I was in a place where I feel like I'm okay financially. I feel like I'm where God want me to be as it relates to ministry. I feel like I'm a whole person. So now in getting married, I want to marry another whole person so I can give to this person. I don't want to get married when I was a half a person. And I don't want another half a person to marry because in math, the two halves make a whole.
Come on.
But in the kingdom, the two halves doesn't make a whole.
Come on,
the
sir.
two halves make a half.
Come on.
One whole plus another whole makes one in marriage.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make sure that I was whole first. And now that I got whole, I wasn't looking for anything that wasn't whole, because if I found anything else that wasn't whole, they was going to take away from my whole, and it was going to be my whole they have, and I was going to carry this thing, and I was going to have baggage that I didn't want because it was another half along with me.
Right.
I needed this to make the equation what it needed to be. She had to be whole. She didn't have to do she didn't have to fast for 30, 40 days like I was fast, but she had to fast for 7. She didn't have to read how I read, but she had to read something. She didn't have to pray like I prayed, but she had to pray. And so I didn't want anything that or anyone that didn't value what I value, because we was gonna have a problem, because we was gonna go to church, we was gonna tithe, we were gonna fast, we were gonna pray, we were gonna save, we were gonna invest. These are things that we're gonna do. And if you have a problem with any of that, then you got a problem with my value system. And so we have to value the same thing. And so it's I thought about this. What can I bring to the marriage? How can I enhance someone's life?
Right.
How can I be an asset into someone else's life? How can I love someone else unconditionally? And we can build a family, and we can be an example to our children and our children's children, and an example to so many other people. How can I add value? And I think so many people don't get married to add value.
Correct.
So many people get married so that value can be added to them.
Yes.
And this is the question that people have to ask themselves, to where when you're getting married, are you an asset or are you a liability?
Correct.
And sometimes when you're not in the place that you need to be in, and you're just a half a person, then you're a liability, and you're bringing a liability into a marriage.
Correct.
Now, are you an asset? Are you bringing value are you enhancing somebody's life? Are they going to be better because of you? Brothers, I want you to understand something, that everything that you touch should be better because of you. Where you work, it should be better because of you. Yeah. Your church, brothers, should be better because of you. When you become one with a sister, she should become you. Her stock should increase because of you. Her value should be raised because of you. She should feel more wholeness and completion because of you. Yes. When you have children or stepchildren, they should feel empowered and better. They are better because you are in the house. They're not taken from. They're not worse. They don't feel less than, but they feel valuable and more valuable because that's what you added. You brought value when you showed up. And you can't bring value once you get married. Right. You bring value prior to marriage. You bring value. You bring value as you pray, as you fast, as you seek the Lord, as you spend time with the Lord, as you work on yourself, as you work on your finances, as you work on your health, as you work on your mental health. That's how you add value to yourself. And when you add value to yourself, everything that you touch, you'll add value to it.
That's good stuff, sir.
And that's kingdom. That's what we have to think about. That's what we have to think on, and not looking for somebody to what I'm saying, we can put our ends together. We can, I just need somebody, man, I ain't really had no mama in my life. My dad really wasn't there for me. I just need somebody to, you ain't looking for a wife, you're looking for a mama. Yes. And your wife is not your mama. Your wife can't fix you. Yes. You need Jesus to fix you. You need your mental health need to be in place so that you can be the man that God has called you to be.
Amen. Amen.
So important. I want to read this to you. That are you an asset or a liability? So look what an asset is. An asset is useful or a valuable thing, person, or quality. That's what an asset. So brothers, ask yourself, am I useful? Am I a valuable thing, person, or quality? I mean, do I add value to the relationship? This is what a liability is. A person or thing whose presence or behavior is likely to cause embarrassment or put one at a disadvantage.
Oh my God.
In your marriage, are you causing an embarrassment to your wife? Are you putting her at a disadvantage to where her credit score was okay, but now she married you, so now her credit score is down because you done messed things up. Her mental health was okay, but now she connected with you, and her mental health is not where it need to be because you put her at a disadvantage.
My Lord.
She was on point, and her reputation was
Lord.
on point, but now she's finding out that you inboxing folks and sending folks pictures of yourself. So now is she at a disadvantage? Is she embarrassed because of you in her life?
My Lord.
Are you an asset or are you a liability? She should not be embarrassed because of you. She should not be at a disadvantage because of you. She should feel proud of her husband. She should be at an advantage because of you. Her life is better because I got married, I got more money. Because I'm married, my mental health is better. Because I'm married, I'm healthier. Because I'm married, I feel more secure in myself and who I am. Because I'm married, I can worship God without these stressors in his word. I have somebody I can share my life with that loves me unconditionally, that I love unconditionally. When you stepped into my life, brother, that's what happened to me. Can your wife say that about you?
That's so good.
Many people get married because they are looking for someone to love them and complete them. They believe another's love will give them the self-worth and sense of security that they are looking for, or that having children will give them a sense of purpose.
Self-worth, self-value does not come from any outside force, relationship, or entity.
We're going to find out where it comes from. Listen to this right here. The problem with this reason is that their lack of self-worth, sense of security, and sense of purpose is coming from self-abandonment.
Or abandonment by a parent.
That's it. From judging themselves, from avoiding their feelings by staying focused in their mind rather than being present in their body with their feelings.
Whoo, see, now you're getting off into some things, brother, that we're going to have to circle back around because
they are avoiding responsibilities for their feelings and hoping someone else will give them what they are not giving themselves. But in avoiding this responsibility, they are rejecting themselves and causing their own lack of self-worth, security, and sense of purpose. Someone else's love can't fix their rejection and abandonment of themselves, or their parent abandoning them.
Save me. Save me.
You want to get married because you want somebody to save you.
Come save me. Come save me. Come be responsible for me. Come pick up where the other person left off. That's really what I'm saying. Come pick up where my mother left off. Come pick up where my father left off. That's exactly what we're saying. That's exactly it. And no other human can do that. They cannot do it. Those gaps can only be filled in Jesus.
Listen to this. This is going to bless. This is going to bless. Many people get married, and this is why you should get married right here. This is why you should get married. This is it. Many people get married because they feel complete and they want to share the love with a partner. They feel complete, and I want to share this with somebody else. I got a lot. I got so much love in me. I got a lot to give. I got some stuff. I want to share this with somebody. Yeah. I share, like, oftentimes when we've traveled and gone out of town, I feel like with people that's close to us, with some of our staff, I want to share it with them. Like, man, this is amazing stuff. And that's how it is, to where, man, I got love in me. The love of God is in me. I'm on point, and I want to share this with somebody. I want to give this to somebody else. Yeah. When people have done their inner work and have learned how to love themselves rather than reject and abandon themselves, they feel a deep sense of self-worth, security, and purpose. When you've done that inner work, and listen, people want to overlook the inner work. People want to, you want to pass over the inner work, and you want it to just abracadabra and something happens and you're whole and you're complete. You have to do that inner work. You have to get that work, allow God to have his way. You have to cry sometimes. If you ain't cried, if you ain't felt broken, if you ain't felt low, when God begins to break you and prune you, it don't feel good. If you just had a happy-go-lucky life and you got saved and you think you just ready to get married, you're not ready. If you hadn't sat alone in a room and then been broken and cried and felt some kind of way about your old stuff and who you are, and your abandonment, your rejection issues, and you hadn't worked through that stuff, you are setting yourself up for disappointment and failure because you ain't ready.
Absolutely. If there are not tear stains and snot stains on your floor, you're not ready.
Because Whew. You talking about becoming one with somebody? See, the first person to become one with is the Lord.
Yes.
You got to become one with the Lord.
Yeah.
And you got to get in touch with yourself. When I became one with the Lord, I had to get in touch with me. And he showed me some stuff about me
Yes,
that was
Lord.
ugly.
Yes. Yes.
And I couldn't bring that to nobody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to become one in the Lord first.
With him. Yeah.
Before I can become one with somebody else. Listen,
Yeah.
they feel complete with themselves and full of love, which they want to share with their partner in their children.
Amen.
Because I'm complete in me.
Yes.
I can be complete in my
Whole,
marriage.
lacking nothing.
I can be complete with
Yes.
my children.
Yes.
I want to share. I want to bring some people into the earth to
Yeah.
share myself with them.
Yes.
To share my knowledge, my wisdom with them.
Yes.
I don't want to bring folks to the earth to blow bud
Feel
in their
me.
face.
Feel
I don't
me.
want to bring
Yeah.
people. I need a child to help me, to love me, so
Yeah.
I can feel something about myself.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
they have children because of a need that they have.
Yes.
Rather than having children because I have something that I want to give to a child.
Yes.
To invest in a child.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I want to reproduce myself. Because I'm excited about what God has
has
made
done
me.
in my life. Yeah.
So I want to see many me's. Y'all ain't having church on the podcast. I want to see many me's. So that's what I'm producing. So that's why I want children. And not somebody to help me to become whole. I want children because it's going to help me feel better about myself.
Right. Right.
50-50 in marriage does not equal one whole.
That would be correct. So.
Because some people on here now, all right,
And it's.
I'm already married.
That's it. And it's always important. I think it is what we've just done is we've identified some of the whys, some of probably the likelihood of some of the conflict that's taking place in your marriage. So understanding like, wow, maybe I did make a decision too fast. Maybe I chose with compromise. Maybe this was not the best choice for me. But here's the thing. What do I do now?
That's right.
What do I do now? I'm in it now. And unfortunately, many of us get into it and we already have a contingency plan, a part of our initial agreement. That initial agreement, I already know I'm coming into it. Not all the way 100. I know that I'm coming into it, not checking off all the boxes. I know that, but that's the risk that I'm taking. There are a lot of us are risk takers, and we are taking risks in the wrong areas. We are taking risks with our hearts, with our spirits, with our souls. You're taking a lot of chances, and you're connecting with things and people that you know will likely be to your detriment, but you're doing it anyway because we're making a decision here. And many of us have moved like that. If we're honest, we've done some things. We've said yes to things in the wrong season, the wrong time of our lives. All right. But now, how we move forward. Okay, Pastor. I knew my husband and I were in a different place when we got married. I knew that he wasn't saved. I knew that he wasn't a strong believer. I knew that his relationship with the Lord wasn't strong as mine. And I did it anyway. But I'm in it now. So what do I do? What do I do?
I think that's a really good question because so many people are on here and it was like and I know you were saying amen because about a lot of things like oh that was me, I wanted to be loved, oh that was me, we got pregnant, oh that was me, I was broken. And I had a contingency plan. And some of you really feel that, okay, like I want out now. And you talk about out and you give that life. The first thing is stop talking about the D word. Stop talking about divorce.
Right.
Stop giving that life.
Right. That's not a contingency plan for you. You have to take it off the table. It has to be off the table.
That's not an option.
Right.
So now I'm here, and this is what we're saying. Now that I'm here, what do I do now? What do I do now with, I got married in a season where I was depressed, but now I'm not depressed anymore. What do I do now? Well, what you do now is you work in your marriage. What you do now is that you you fight through it. What
Mm-hmm.
you do now is you don't quit and don't give up.
Absolutely.
Marriage is not for the faint at heart.
It is
And you
not.
can't faint. And sometimes you gonna want to faint. Sometimes you want to quit. Sometimes we felt like, okay, now is this? I mean, what's up now?
Yeah.
We never verbalized that with each other because we did not want to give it any life. And after a while, it may have been a thought, but after a while, it was like, yeah, that thought is gone because we never gave it any light and sat down and say, what you want to do? You want to leave? You want to leave? No, we're not giving it any light because we committed before God that this is forever. And so, I think the thing is to not giving that into life and understanding that I have to work from where I am. You know, this is where I am. So I'm meeting my husband where he is, or I'm meeting my wife where she is, and we're gonna work through it. So whatever the reason was in you getting married, you know, it may have been the wrong reason, but now we're married. So we got to work through it.
Yes.
We got to fight through it. And
Yeah.
maybe we need counseling. And maybe we need additional counseling.
Right.
And maybe we need a lot of communication about it, you know. But I think you don't run.
Yeah.
You don't leave.
Yeah.
You don't give it any life. You don't, well, maybe I need to, because, you know, and people say this a lot. They say, you know, hey, this may not be the person for me. I married the wrong person. Well,
Right
What-
now, they're the right one.
they the right one, baby.
Yeah.
If they married to somebody else, yeah, you married the wrong person. This, you know, bigotry and all this. But if it's y'all and y'all married, well, they the right one right now, because getting out of it would be sin.
Right.
So, and then you'll really be, now it's too wrong. So you can't do anything about the wrong that you did before. It's now, how do we make this what it need to be? And we invite God in, and we repent for the wrong decision that we made. And we say, God, here I am now, God. And God, I ain't making any more impulsive decisions. I'm not
Right.
making any
Right.
decisions without you.
Right.
Forgive me, God.
Right.
Give me the grace. Give us the grace to work through this,
Right.
God. And God, here we are, God. I'm here. I am first offering myself back to you, and I bring my spouse to you,
Yeah.
and here we are together,
Yeah.
God. God, get in the midst, God, Lord, and work this thing out.
Yeah.
And I believe God to do it, and it's not gonna be easy. But who told you that, you know, that this he ain't the one, or that she ain't the one?
Right.
Well, I mean, and maybe they wasn't, but they the one now.
Yeah.
And it's working through it. So I
Right.
think you have to really. You have
Right.
to really work through it.
Right.
Stop giving life to
Yes.
the enemy. Stop giving life to the D word, and work this thing through. You know, wherever it was, whether it's because you was pregnant and now, you know, y'all the baby grown now. You know, whether it was because you had low self esteem, or you didn't
Right.
feel like you can get any better. Now you think you can get better. Now this is who God has called you to.
Right.
And really communicating and expressing to your spouse just where you all are now and where you would like to be.
Yes.
And working on that.
That's it. Where do you want to go from here?
That's right.
Where do we go from here?
You know, and sometimes people think that they can share something one time with a person, and you know, I already told him that I wanted him to work out.
Stop it. Stop.
Well, hey, look, tell him again.
Stop it.
God, give me the wisdom of how to communicate with him. You know, I
Yes.
need to work out. You know, you want to work out together, baby? Well, I tried that. Well, you just start. Do you work out? Well, you start working out. Well, I do work out. Well, sometimes it's God will give you the strategy of how to communicate with your husband, and the strategy of how to communicate with your wife. Stop doing you. Stop being live.
Yep.
Stop trying to rush the process. And God, you give me the wisdom of what to say, of when to say it, and of how to say it to my spouse. You know, and that goes with whether it's the wrong person, or you
Yep.
feel like it's the wrong person or the right person. That's just in any relationship. You have to use wisdom, and sometimes we just want things to be perfect. We
Yep.
don't want to use wisdom. We want to just be
Instantaneous.
live. We just want, I want everything right. No, you ain't everything right to them.
Correct.
You know, so they not gonna be everything right. And just because you share some one time or 2 times or 3 times, don't mean that you not gonna have to continue to share. You got to continue
I'm
to share,
telling you.
continue to coach,
Yep.
continue to guide, continue to say, hey, you know, remember the last time, you know, you know, I'm consistent. This is what I want. This is what I want to see. I would
Yeah.
love to see this. Hey,
Yeah.
babe, you know, it's how you say things. It's
Yep.
how you say things to them. You know, I would really, really love to see this. You know, I think it's so important. You know, you got to know when to talk. When is a good time to talk to your spouse? When is a good time for y'all to have conversations? Because again, everything, if you got the same tone when you're speaking, then everything is a 10. And if everything is a 10, then everything is nothing. Everything can't be a 10. So there's certain things that's a 1, and you have to pick your battles. We need to do a whole podcast on choosing your battles. Choose your battles wisely. Some things not a hill to down. No, I'm gonna let him have that. I don't like how he leave crumbs on the bed. Some don't. Will you leave the crumbs on the bed? And I told you to get. No. You gotta save that one, because what you really don't like is when he come home late. So you save that tone for that when he don't come. When he don't come home. When he says he's gonna come home, you say you gonna be home. Now that's when you get that voice. But when he leaving crumbs in the bed or leaving dishes in the sink, don't use that tone, because everything gonna sound the same to him. And this is gonna be wah, 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 and he don't want to hear that. So just when you leave crumbs in the bed, baby, get the crumbs out the bed. Now, baby, we said that when we leave crumbs in the bed, why don't we just eat at the table? I would love you at the table, because when you put crumbs in the bed, it puts me in a certain place, and I don't really want to be involved, because crumbs on me and it get all sticky and stuff, and I don't really feel like I'm in the mood. And I know I want to be in the mood for you. That brother gonna start getting them crumbs out the bed so fast. You understand what I'm saying? So it's those things, understanding that tone and understanding how you're saying things to him, and not making everything a 10. And so knowing when the opportune times for you all to speak. For us, it's sometimes getting away and going out to get something to eat and having a conversation. It's been also times we've gone out of town, and we've had really, really honest, true, transparent dialogue. And so knowing those times and really expressing how you feel and about how you really, this means a lot to you. But stop whining and complaining, because everything can't mean a lot. Because if everything mean a lot, then the things that truly means a lot don't mean anything to them as well. So that's important. And this is where you are. You may have married for the wrong reasons, but all is not lost. Just because you're married for the wrong reason don't mean that your marriage is a failure or that your marriage is nothing, and it cannot be revived, because it can be revived. And you got to believe that and speak that and work on it being revived. Can you say amen?
Amen.
So listen, if you got married for the wrong reason, that's okay. You're married now. Let God intervene. And the enemy, what he meant for bad, God can turn it around and bring good into your situation.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining us on today's podcast. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we will see you back next week. Bye, y'all. Thank you for listening to the Still in Love podcast. We hope that you have enjoyed this episode and it has indeed blessed your life. If it has, we need you to do 3 things for us. 1, we want you to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform, so that way you can be notified when a new episode drops. Number 2, we want you to review it. Click on that 5-star and let us know how much you enjoyed it. We absolutely love feedback here at the Still in Love podcast, and this helps us to make sure that we are scratching where there's an itch. And number 3, we want you to share it with a friend or family member. Also, if you have a question, we'd love to hear it and even talk about it right here on the podcast. You can submit those questions at stillinlovepodcast.com. You can also connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Innovation Church Memphis, and on TikTok at We Are Innovation. Until next time, peace.
Don't just start in love,
but stay in love.
Thanks for tuning in to Still in Love podcast. God bless.